look now at what happened on the Kenyan market today, and you can see it's red, not quite across the board, but 0.5% down on the main index. 4,814 is where we closed at today, and we'll be taking up the detail of what happened on that market later in the program. On the currency front, we've got the Kenyan shilling, like most other currencies today, the trade against the US dollar down against the greenback, down 0.1%, 87.45 is where we're sitting at. Joining us now from our studios in Nairobi to give us an update on what's going on in Kenya is William Othiambo. He's managing consultant at Elim Consulting. William, good afternoon to you. So we've got this market now under pressure, and it's a few weeks now to go before the election. Should we be reading that perhaps the market is saying, hey, it's time to take some money off the table?
Well, good afternoon, Godfrey. I don't think we should be saying that. I think it's just a slight correction, because more is to come in terms of the announcements from the companies, and that was what was driving the market initially. And so even for us to be at 4,800, I think it's a good thing, and more is to come, so I don't think we should be worried a lot. It's just a slight correction.
Yeah. Now we'll be talking about the results of East African breweries, but I did see that it was one of the shares under pressure today, down 4.2%. We also had Kenya Power and Lighting Company that was also down 3.8%. Where is that money going?
Well, concerning EABL, of course, it's after the news came in that the EABL did not perform so well. Obviously, investors in the market will not take that kindly, and that would reflect on the charts. And so that is where EABL is. But more important than that, I mean, there are people in the market that trying to take profits and might have the same feeling that you had when you started this conversation, that it's probably time to take in the gain and go home.
When you say go home, do you mean this money is going to end up in a money market account, or perhaps it's going to sit in a bond somewhere, or are we talking here about perhaps money that's going to be spent, or is that money being rotated into other sectors on the market?
Well, there are those of us who would go into the market to get their gain and then wait a while because of the economy of the coming elections, and so they would probably want to put their money elsewhere, either in real estate or in a bond somewhere, and avoid the market. But there are those, however, who will be more focused on going into other sectors of the market.
So the sense I'm trying to get out of you, William, is whether we are seeing now a declining interest in the market, and this is likely to continue, because just looking at the volumes as well as the value of shares traded, if I can quickly give you those numbers. So week on week, we're seeing turnover down to 3.36 billion shillings. That's down from 4.06 billion shillings. And then in terms of the number of shares that were traded, actually, now that's down even more steeply. We're looking at 141 million shares traded against 479 million. So it's quite a sharp drop in liquidity on the market here.
Well, I agree with you that the market is taking up some real pressures. First, from investors who are looking at the market as a high risk right now, considering that the elections are coming and it portends real political risks. However, that said, I strongly believe, and you'll probably agree with me after 4 or 5 trading sessions, that this is a correction, and after a while we will still see the charts going up again, probably to 4,950 or even across the 5,000 mark before the elections. And that might happen even by next week.
I want us to talk about an important development. I've been raising it ever since I've come in to stand in for one of the anchors on our shows. The fact that we had the presidential contestants themselves earlier this week sitting at a table and discussing and saying what their policies are going to be if they are elected going forward. Should we read into it that the stability that we've seen on the markets is likely to continue through the election period, and therefore suggest that Kenya is maturing as a democracy, even from an investment perspective?
Well, as a Kenyan, I would want to say yes, we should read into it that way, that the Kenyan economy and the Kenyan community at large is growing.
Yeah.
That gentlemen can come to a table and discuss issues, and translate those issues into campaign agenda.
Yeah, but what about,
however,
William, what about as a man with money to manage who doesn't really have to care about the other things? You have to be careful about the money.
Yeah, as an investor as well and as a consultant, I would say that there is need to move with caution, because at the end of the day, these are politicians, and politicians are the same all over. And there is a need to move with caution as regards what will happen during the election. I really have no problem with what will happen after the elections. I think most of them are committed to what they were saying. I just, it's just there is a slight issue of, will the gentlemen behave as gentlemen when they lose?
Yeah.
And will we have peace? And those are some of the issues that we are discussing as of now.
Yeah, as an African, I must say, William, I'm disappointed that you don't believe our politicians and that you are taking a cautious look at this one. But I'll take my hat off as an African. Let's talk about East African breweries very quickly. What did you make of those results? So you had a drop in profitability, and we know why, in part because there was that massive increase in costs, 221%. Were there other issues that you're concerned about with that set of results?
Well, as a manager, there are some sacrifices that you have to make in the short run to ensure that the long run stability of the company is assured. It looks like those are the decisions that EABL management made in the just concluded year, and they took a loan to buy into Kenya Breweries Limited and to ensure their stability. Now that ate into their profits, but then again there are issues of economic upheavals in the region, so to speak, that also affected them, as you saw they discussing the same. But that notwithstanding, EABL is still one of the largest companies in the Nairobi Securities Exchange as regards assets, and its stability is assured.